This is the top 5 gainers and top 5 losers analysis for April 5, 2019. However, I decided to include the halftime data for Monday's trading, April 8, 2019. Let's begin with PHEN. PHEN closed as of recess on Monday at 1.62. Historical resistance is at 1.68. Support is at 1.5. Should PHEN break out above 1.68, that will make 1.8 or 1.81 as its next historical resistance. Should it break down below 1.5, that will make 1.38 as its next support level. Today's red candlestick is still above the 10-day simple moving average, and it managed to stay above its volume weighted average price of 1.6. So since it's above the 10-day volume, above the VWAP, and volume is above the 50% of the 10-day volume average, there's a chance for PHEN to maintain its position above the 1.6 level. However, I might change my sentiment as soon as PHEN closes below its VWAP. Okay, MACD of course maintains its position above the signal line. Historical volatility is at 60%, which is a moderate risk level for PHEN. RSI has already managed to inch closer to its classical overbought territory. So my recommendation for you is that you consider locking in some profits near 1.65 to 1.68 or anywhere above 1.6. Lock in some profits or follow your trailing stop loss if you don't like to sell earlier than your trailing stop loss. If you don't have a position yet and you would like to know if it's worth it to enter a new position or to top up on your shares, remember these 4 criteria. They are now 4. Okay. Number 1, it should be a green candlestick. Number 2, it should be the last price's candlestick should be above the VWAP. Number 3, volume should be at least above the 50% of the 10-day volume average. Number 4, the most traded and most voluminous range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. So that's more or less about a price volume distribution analysis. Remember those 4 criteria, please, because I'll be citing those 4 criteria towards the next 9 stocks that I'll be talking about. So I don't have to repeat those 4 criteria every now and then. Now, since it's more about price volume distribution analysis, I highly encourage you to take advantage of your access to our private clients forum. It's just on your dashboard, this one, private clients forum. If you would like to know how to use this forum, please go to your My account and then read the quick start guide. There's a here link there for you to read the quick start guide. Okay, so that's my recommendation for PHEN. If you would like to top up, or if you'd like to know if it's logical to enter a new position for PHEN, make sure that those 4 criteria are present. Not 3, not 2, but 4. Okay? My overall sentiment for PHEN remains bullish with a recommendation to lock in some profits now that it's already moving above the 1.6 level. Let's move on to the next stock. We have Green. Green closed as of recess on Monday at 2.63. Resistance is at 2.9. Support, we can adjust the support at 2.25. The last price is still moving above the 10 SMA. However, the 10 SMA is below the 50 SMA, meaning to say Green has to break out above the resistance at 2.90 for it to become bullish even in the medium term. Okay. Now, the last price is equal. It's actually below the VWAP already. It's already below the VWAP while volume is still below the 50% of the 10-day volume average. Now, what does this mean to me? It's more likely for Green to just maintain the range above 2.6 this afternoon unless a massive volume will be registered after recess. But based on what I've seen in the morning, the first half of trading this Monday, It's more likely for green to maintain its position above the 2.6 level unless, this is a conditional statement, again, unless volume will cross above the 50% of the 10-day volume average of green, or if it will break out above the 50%, above the 10-day volume average itself of green. Okay, historical volatility is at 56%. That's a moderate risk level for green. My overall sentiment for green is neutral to bullish. Neutral to bullish. I'm not completely bullish yet because of this topsy-turvy volume. I can see some inconsistencies on the bullishness of daily volume bars. So there you go for the reservation. That's why I'm neutral to bullish on green. If once it inches closer to 2.9, I would encourage you to lock in some profits, or you just simply follow your trailing stop loss. Okay, should you decide, if you're asking if it's logical to enter a new position or to top up now that it is at 2.63, remember those 4 criteria that I mentioned in the first stock that I talked about. Okay, let's move on to pizza, the next stock in the list. Pizza closed on as of recess on Monday at 13.2. 13.2. Resistance is now at, it already, let me quote this one, 13.27. Okay, we can consider 13.27 or 13.3 as its historical resistance as well. Past the 13.30 level, it will be 13.76 as its next historical resistance. On the other hand, support maintains its position at 11.90. Today's candlestick, although it's red, maintains its position above the 10-day simple moving average. If the price will continue to close above 13.2, or maybe once it touches 13.5, that will be the time when the 10-day SMA will cross above the 50 SMA. When that happens, we will see the moving averages of pizza in a perfect bullish position. But only when that happens. Okay. MACD is still moving above the signal line. Historical volatility is at 41%, and that's a low risk level for pizza. Foreign investor sentiment for 2019 year to date remains bearish on pizza. Okay, volume is still below 50% of the 10-day volume average of pizza. Let's see this afternoon if this will spike out. My overall sentiment for pizza is now neutral. I'm already bearish on pizza. Despite the tall green candlestick last Friday, because based on what I see right now, it seems that the resistance at 13.27 to 13.30 is a strong one, and people are still in an eavesdropping mode, trying to check, trying to wait, who's the brave guy who will buy a significant amount of shares above 13.20 or 13.30. So everyone is also in a wait and see mode. So if I were you, it would be more prudent to lock in some profits near 13.2, between 13.2 to 13.30. Okay. Before you consider entering a new position, make sure that those 4 criteria that I mentioned a while back are present. Moving on to Cebu Pacific. SEB closed on Monday as of recess at 85.05. And that price point is below the VWAP of 85.17. Support is at 80.8. Resistance is at 88 pesos per share. Okay. The last candlestick is still above the 50-day simple moving average, meaning to say this stock is still trending at the moment towards the northward direction, considering its position relative to the position of the 50-day simple moving average. If we want the moving averages alignment to be in a perfect bullish position, SEB must break out above the resistance at 88 pesos per share. Maybe 88 all the way to 90, 91. MACD remains bullish. Historical volatility is at 28%, which is a low risk level for Cebu Pacific. The foreign investor sentiment for 2019 year to date remains, I think this is more or less bearish for Cebu Pacific. Volume is still, if I haven't mentioned it already, volume is still below 50% of the 10-day volume average of Cebu Pacific. If this volume will continue to show some flimsy actions all the way until 3:30 this afternoon, it's possible for us to see a red candlestick as the concluding performance of Cebu Pacific for today. My overall sentiment for Cebu Pacific remains neutral to bullish. My reservation comes from the low volume as of recess today. My recommendation is that you follow your trailing stop loss wherever it is. As soon as the price draws closer to 88 pesos, take a look at the appetite of the traders if they are still willing to buy the stock at a price higher than 88 pesos. And how would you know that? You would know that if those four criteria are all present. All present. I have emphasized that. Okay? Now, moving on to VUL, Vulcan Industrial and Mining Corporation, closed as of recess on Monday at 1.18. That is below the VWAP of 1.19. When the last price is below the VWAP, we can say that it's a bearish trend, intraday trend for the stock. Volume is above 50% of the 10-day volume average of VUL. The price is moving above the 10-day simple moving average. However, if you will see it on a bigger picture, the alignment of the moving averages of VUL is showing us a perfect, what do you think? Perfect bearish alignment for VUL. So there you go for VUL. Moving average, the MACD has already crossed above the signal line, and the price is also above the 10-day simple moving average. So if you are to follow my 10 SMA MACD combo, we are now seeing a confirmed buy signal. But if you would like to make this confirmation, because this confirmed buying signal a stronger one rather, I would suggest that you check if those four criteria that I mentioned a while back are all present. And what are those again? Number one should be a green candlestick. Number two, the price should be above the VWAP. Number three, volume should be at least above the 50% of the 10-day volume average. Number four, the most traded and most voluminous range should be closer to the intraday high than the intraday low. Memorize those four. Write them down on a piece of paper. Okay? My overall sentiment for VUL is bearish already. Okay, I'm already bearish on VUL. Perhaps traders of VUL translated 1.2 as a resistance. Perhaps. We will find out this afternoon if they will reverse or change the color of this candlestick from red to green this afternoon. So it's still everyone's game. It is still everyone's game. It's still the game of the bears and the bulls. It's not done yet. But that's my intraday sentiment for VUL. It's bearish already. My overall sentiment is that you lock in some profits near 1.2. Before you decide to top up or to enter a new position, again and again, make sure that those four criteria that I have repeatedly been mentioning are all, ALL, are all present. Okay, let's now move on to the top 5 losers as of Friday, beginning with ZHI. Z closed on Monday as of recess at 0.37. That's already above, or actually equal. It's equal to the VWAP of 0.37 as well. Support is at 0.37.2. Also, 0.37. Resistance is at 0.41. If it breaks out below 0.37, that will make 0. Let me see this and adjust it. 0.33 as the next support level, all the way to 0.39. 0.31 to 0.33. That's the support range should it break out below 0.37. Volume, meanwhile, is still below the 50% of the 10-day volume average of Z. The price, the last price, is also below the 10 SMA. So we're seeing lots of bearish signals right here. MACD is still below the signal line, another bearish signal. Historical volatility is at 68%, a moderate risk stock. My overall sentiment for Z remains bearish. My recommendation is that you wait for a pullback below 0.37, specifically closer to 0.33 if you can catch that. Okay, so be on a wait and see mode. Don't hurry in trading Z just yet. Okay, so watch out for those 4 criteria. As soon as those 4 criteria are all checked, they are all present, by all means, do a test buy. All right, moving on to ABA. ABA closed on Monday as a pre-sales at 0.54. That is below the VWAP of 0.55. MACD remains bearish, and volume is almost already equal to the 10-day volume average and support for the bearish intraday sentiment for ABA. Historical volatility is at 59%, a moderate risk level. My overall sentiment for ABA remains bearish. It's more likely for the price to retest the previous support at 0.50 to 0.51. So wait near that level, but it doesn't mean that you should buy right away as soon as the price hits 0.5 on the ticker, on the bid-ask spread. You have to reevaluate. Are those 4 criteria already present, or just 2 of them or 3 of them? All 4 must be present. If all 4 are present, then you can do a test buy. Do a test buy where? You should know the answer. You should only do a test buy within the range that got the most number of trades and the biggest number of volume and the highest number of trades. In other words, the most voluminous and most traded range. It's actually the fourth in the list, the fourth criterion. Okay, it's the fourth criterion. So that's it for ABA. Moving on to MRC. MRC closed on Monday as a pre-sales at 0.37, and that one is equal to the intraday VWAP of 0.37 as well. We can say that the support, the historical support, is pegged at 0.35. Resistance is at 0.41. Today's green candlestick is still below the 10-day simple moving average. And you know what? The alignment of the moving averages of MRC is still in a perfect, guess what? Bearish position. Perfect bearish position. That's the alignment of the moving averages of MRC. So for MRC to break that kind of sentiment, it has to break out above 0.41 first. 0.41. Okay, so MACD is still below the signal line, but it has already formed. It has already shown as a formation of a bullish divergence with the signal line. But that bullish divergence can only make MACD cross above the signal line if and when the price closes above or inches above 0.38 to 0.39 at least. Historical volatility is at 40%. That's a low risk level for MRC. My overall sentiment for MRC remains neutral to bearish. I'm not yet bullish on MRC despite the appearance of a green candlestick and a volume that's above the 50-day, that's equal to the 10-day volume average, almost equal to the 10-day volume average of MRC. Okay, so take a look at those 4 criteria. Are they all present on MRC? If they are, you can do a test buy, even if the candlestick is still below the 10 SMA. Okay, so you can do a test buy. Or if you prefer that MACD is already moving above the 10 SMA, or MACD is moving above the signal line and the price is moving above the 10 SMA, then you can wait for those 2 extra layers of confirmation to be present before you do a test buy. in addition to those four criteria, especially that the candlestick of MRC is still below the 10 SMA. Just to be sure, a double layer of protection, double layer of security, confirmation for your buying signal. Moving on to Lopez. Lopez Holdings Corporation closed on Monday as of recess at 5.25. That's above the VWAP or volume weighted average price of 5.24. Support is at 5.0, resistance is at 5.48. The price is already about to cross above. It's not yet there. It's just about to cross above the 10 SMA, which is at 5.26. So just one fluctuation away. MACD, however, remains below the signal line. That's a bullish one. Bearish, rather. Historical volatility is at 31%, which is a low risk level for LPZ. Volume, on the other hand, let's see the volume. It's just about 1.27 million. Okay, volume is it's still a very low volume for LPZ. It's barely visible on the volume histogram. So my overall sentiment on LPZ, it remains neutral to bearish. Okay, I'm neutral to bearish on LPZ. My recommendation is that you be in a wait and see mode. Also, don't hurry just yet. There's still a possibility for LPZ to break down below 5.17 should this flimsiness on volume continue. So pay extra attention on the volume as well. Last but not the least, we have TBGI. Trans-Pacific Broadband Group International Incorporated closed on Monday as of recess at 0.395. Resistance is at 0.41. Support is at 0.32 or 326. Okay, so it already break down below the previous support level at 0.41 last April 1. So it is a bearish start for TBGI this April. And that happened with the volume that's equal, if not higher than its 10-day volume average. So take a look at the volume as well, because this last price of 0.395 is equal to its VWAP of 0.395 as well. Meaning to say there's a tug of war, literally a tug of, not literally, but figuratively a tug of war between the bears and the bulls as of recess this in the first half of trading on Monday. So it's still everyone's game as well. But I think with this low volume, it's more like a game of the bears. Okay, if it were a volume that's almost equal to the 10-day volume average of TBGI, then I'm more confident to say that it's still everyone's game. But with this very thin volume, it's more like a game of the bears. But that sentiment is still subject to change. Who knows? Maybe after recess, the volume will fluctuate and will inch closer to the 10-day volume average and maintains a green candlestick, the color of this current candlestick. Okay, let's see. Historical volatility is at 22%. That means a low risk level for TBGI. MACD remains bearish. Okay, so my overall sentiment on TBGI is neutral. It's neutral. My recommendation, my suggestion is that you continue observing on the volume of TBGI. If those four criteria will become present anytime this afternoon, then consider doing a test buy as, if those four criteria are present or will become present this afternoon, then we can say then that TBGI has respected or treated the support at 0.39. But only when those four criteria will become true this afternoon. So watch out if you would like to monitor TBGI. So that's my overall sentiment, analysis, and recommendation for these 10 stocks for April 5, 2019, considering the halftime data for April 8, 2019, Monday. Again, my name is JC De Guzman, your analyst at Equilist Analytics. I would like to recommend, by the way, that you take advantage of our private clients forum. post your request for my latest price volume distribution chart or analysis for these 10 stocks or any stock that you'd like to. If you don't know yet how to post in the private clients forum, again, go back to your My account. Then you will see the here word with the link. Click on that and it will open the quick start guide for you. Read that. It's very simple to post in our forum. Okay? So if you would like, by the way, if you'd like to hear it from me in person, firsthand, I'll be conducting a 4-hour workshop, up to 30 people only in Makati City on May 4, 2019. That's Saturday from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon in Makati City. So for those people, if you are from the Manila, if you are within the Manila area, maybe in the southern area, just visit seminars on our website and then click on Makati Stock Market Seminar, Manila Stock Market Seminar Batch 1. There are only 4 slots remaining. The slots sell like hot pancakes actually. So 4 slots remaining, first come, first serve. Okay? So there you go. Again, my name is JC De Guzman. Have a profitable and disciplined trading day ahead. Bye for now.